A high school student, I'm also a big art enthusiast. And today I want to share my passion for art with you, and color is a large part of it. So you might have heard about color theory or seen a color wheel. I've seen this all over the internet. This is one of the most powerful tools used by artists and designers to create projects unlike any other. However, color isn't only about good looks. For example, here, look at this picture. And imagine that you're a small animal and suddenly you hear a rustle of leaves. And then, in a matter of seconds, you become the food for a predator. And why is that? Because you couldn't spot it. Because you don't have a power of color vision, which is a product of evolution. And this is the powerful tool used by humans and other predators to survive. This is especially useful whenever we are trying to identify whether or not the insect is harmful or not. So, if you look at this one, it is rather colorful and attractive. However, it acts as a sign telling that the insect is poisonous, and you may risk your life trying to approach it. And on the other hand, this one is a common type. You can always see it in your homes, and this has no harm at all. And a quick fun fact, women can actually see a larger spectrum of colors than men can. However, our perception of the same color may differ drastically depending on several factors, with lighting and background effects being the primary ones. So, try recalling that one debate over the color of the dress that occurred on the internet in 2015. No, the next one, please. So here, see, there has been research conducted on the phenomena of the dress, where some people saw the dress as gold and white, whereas others thought that it was blue and black, which in fact it was. So this was heavily impacted by the thought of the lighting, about the lighting that was in the picture. Whenever people thought that the lighting was artificial yellow one, they were most likely to say that the dress was black and blue in color. However, if they deemed that the lighting was that of a bluer hue, they were most likely to say that the dress was gold and white. And the same difference in perception of colors goes for cultures. So, a quick question. What do you associate the color green with? Like any answer?
Nature.
Nature, right. So for the majority of the cultures, green is associated with nature, health, and even money at some point. However, this isn't true for some other cultures where the color green carries a rather negative connotation. For example, in South America, it is closely linked to death. And if you ever happen to visit China, please don't ever wear a green hat, as this is a sign of cheating if you're a female, and being cheated on if you're a female. And white is a universal symbol of purity and innocence. However, has also a symbolic meaning of mourning for the majority of Asian countries. And just as different colors have varying meanings depending on the cultural background of a person, they may also evoke different emotions, also depending on the cultural background of the person. For example, the color psychology of yellow is cheerful and uplifting, and whenever we look at it, we think of the sun and all of the warm things in between. However, this is not true for Germans, who link the color with envy, and hence the saying that comes from that is literally translated from their language as yellow with envy. And, well, universally, red symbolizes love and passion, but this is not true for Japan, where love is identified by orange. However, the former color also has loads of different other meanings, especially the negative ones, such as danger and fury. And this is actually one of the most favorite colors used by sellers. In marketing, The brighter the color is, the most likely it is to attract attention of a customer. There has been a research conducted on various websites, and it concluded that whenever people saw price tags being marked with bright colors, they were most likely to make unnecessary purchases that were impulsive, and hence spend lots of money. And however much you might try to resist the urge, you will most likely fail, as this trick works subconsciously. There even is a plethora of strategies that companies use for the choice of their colors. For example, businesses that store loads of personal data, like Facebook or Twitter, they tend to go for the shades of blue, a color that we associate with reliability and trust. And this is the trait that we expect from such companies. And so, black, on the other hand, is a color mostly used by the luxurious companies like Chanel and Gucci. They try to create this sense of exclusivity and make their customers feel special by purchasing their products. And now, you know a little more about how color can be your best friend or your worst enemy, manipulating you into buying some unnecessary stuff. Thank you for your attention.